History never remembers smooth journeys, it remembers comebacks. Behind every legendary rise, there is a fall that tested the soul, crushed confidence, and forced a decision. Stay down or stand back up stronger. Failure is not the end of the story, it is the opening chapter of every great comeback ever written. The truth is, comebacks do not start with applause, motivation, or confidence. They start in silence, disappointment, and self-doubt. They start when no one believes in you anymore, sometimes not even yourself. Today, I'm going to tell you 3 main powerful rules that explain why failure is not a setback but a setup, why hitting the lowest point often becomes the strongest turning point, and why every meaningful comeback is born from struggle. These rules will help you understand how failure reshapes mindset, rebuilds strength, and rewrites destiny. If you've ever felt like your best days are behind you, these rules will show you that your comeback hasn't even begun yet, it's being prepared right now. Rule number 1, failure forces awakening. Failure forces awakening because it shatters illusions and wakes you up to reality in a way comfort never can. Because when things are going well, it is easy to drift, to delay growth, and to ignore weaknesses. But when failure hits, it pulls you out of autopilot and demands awareness. Because suddenly excuses stop working and avoidance becomes impossible. And this moment of clarity is painful but powerful because it shows you exactly where you stand and what must change. And this awakening is the true beginning of a comeback. Because no comeback starts without awareness, without acknowledging mistakes, blind spots, and wasted potential. And failure creates this awareness by confronting you with the consequences of inaction, poor habits, or misplaced priorities. And once you are awakened by failure, you can no longer lie to yourself because you see the gap between who you are and who you could be. And this gap becomes fuel rather than shame. Because awareness transforms regret into responsibility, and responsibility into direction. And over time, this awakening sharpens focus because you stop chasing distractions and start aligning actions with purpose. And this is why failure becomes the first step of every great comeback, because it opens your eyes, clears illusions, and forces you to take ownership of your future. And once you are awake, you cannot return to ignorance. And this permanent awareness becomes the foundation upon which your comeback is built. Rule number 2, failure rebuilds strength. Failure rebuilds strength by breaking the parts of you that were weak, untested, or dependent on external validation. Because real strength is not proven during success, but constructed during loss, pressure, and repeated disappointment. And failure exposes emotional fragility, mental inconsistency, and lack of endurance, not to shame you, but to strengthen you. Because every setback forces adaptation, and every adaptation adds resilience. And over time, this process hardens your mindset, because you learn how to absorb pain without quitting, how to process disappointment without self-destruction, and how to continue moving forward without reassurance. And this strength is different from confidence built on results, because it does not disappear when circumstances change. And failure trains this strength by demanding persistence without reward, discipline without praise, and effort without certainty. And as this strength grows, fear loses its power, because you have already survived what once terrified you. And this internal toughness becomes the engine of your comeback. Because once strength is rebuilt through failure, you are no longer fragile, impatient, or reactive. And when opportunity returns, you are finally prepared to handle it. Because strength forged in failure does not crack under pressure, it expands. And this is why the strongest comebacks always come from those who were broken first and rebuilt themselves intentionally. Rule number 3, failure demands commitment. Failure demands commitment because a comeback cannot be accidental, emotional, or temporary. It requires a deliberate decision to continue regardless of discomfort, slow progress, or doubt. And failure strips away half-hearted effort, forcing you to either fully commit or fully quit, because when results disappear, only commitment remains. And this commitment becomes the backbone of every great comeback, because it replaces motivation with consistency and hope with discipline. And failure teaches you that waiting for the perfect moment is useless, because progress is built through daily action taken in imperfect conditions. And as commitment deepens, excuses lose power, because commitment does not negotiate with mood, fear, or fatigue. And over time, this commitment reshapes identity, because you stop seeing yourself as someone trying and start seeing yourself as someone who does not stop. And this identity shift is critical because comebacks are sustained by belief reinforced through action. And failure reinforces this belief by demanding proof. And once commitment is established, momentum slowly returns, confidence rebuilds naturally, and success becomes a byproduct rather than a goal. And this is why every great comeback begins with failure, because failure forces awakening, rebuilds strength, and demands commitment, transforming defeat into direction and struggle into power.